Hi guys, the time has come. My radio finally failed all the way. The resetting with the eject button no longer works, so we'll need to rip it out. And to do that, we'll use these special keys I got on AliExpress. Supposedly you can use one of those old bank cards or any piece of plastic which cut to shape, so you can wedge it in here and in there. But since we've got these special keys, we'll use these. And as I remember correctly, a Torx T20. But first of all, let's get the car door open because it's really sunny. And even with the door open, I'm melting inside. So we start off with getting all the junk, which you usually have around your gear shift, cables for the phone, okay, close up the ashtray. And we start off by removing this leather cover with a frame, just wedging your hands inside and pulling it up. It's just holding on some snaps. Pull up firmly, but not too vigorously, so you don't rip off the cable on the bottom there. I tried unplugging the socket, but apparently we don't need to do that, especially considering those automotive plugs are a real pain in the ass trying to get them unplugged. I tried using a screwdriver, that didn't help, so I finally gave up. I just decided that twisting this around should allow it to pass through the central column cover. But giving that up, I decided to go for the clock first. So you wedge in those keys on the bottom and top of the clock, or you can use a payment card cut in half. So once you wedge them in, it should release the clock. And here we have a plug, which is the only plug you need to remove. I broke a part of it off in the process. There was this frame covering up this snap release. So trying to press this in, the thing just came off, but apparently it's not needed for anything, so fortunately didn't damage the plug too much. As you can see, you need to work it a bit to get it removed. Okay, and once we have the clock released, we can grab our T20 Torx bit and start with removing the first out of the 3 screws. One thing to notice is be really careful when you remove them, because if they fall inside into that well, you probably won't find them, and there's a risk that they might cause some short circuit. So unscrew them with a screwdriver and then use your fingers for the last part so you don't lose them. Okay, so once we're done with that, we'll need to return to the bottom and remove that cover on the central tunnel. You just wedge your fingers inside and also pull it up, then work it around on the right side, left side, gently pulling it up. There are also cables underneath, so be careful not to rip them out, like if that would be possible, right? Okay, so once that's pretty much released, we'll need to twist around that leather cover with a frame so it passes through the central opening, but that's blocked by the gear shift. So you need to switch on the car for a bit, so you'll be able to put the gear shift back. And once that's done, you can lift the cover, exposing the 2 screws underneath for the central panel. Okay, here I'll remind you again not to drop them inside. So there's the left one, now the right one. My screwdriver is a bit too long, working at an angle, so it's better to get a shorter one. Okay, and once those screws are gone, we can try pulling off this panel. Wedge in one of those keys inside, or a piece of either thinner piece of plastic, and this way you should be able to pull up the whole panel and then move it to the left side, exposing the radio. So we have the LCD panel, and underneath the head unit we'll want to remove. This is held in place by another 2 screws. These are also T20 Torx, so basically using the same screwdriver for everything. And once removed and radio partially pulled out, I'll move to the right side in hope of seeing how the plugs are attached and how you release the snaps. Although the cables are really short, so it's almost impossible to see anything. You need to feel with your fingers. So these 3 plugs underneath, you have to give them a good squeeze to release the locks. And then that large plug on the left side, this one has a lever which you need to pull back, and once that's fully moved to the back, you can pull on the plug, although it's held in really firmly, so you need to use a little force, but working it back and forth, it should also come out. Then you have also another plastic plug which needs a squeeze in the center, and a metal plug. This one just sits in really firmly, so you need to grab it by the plug, not by the cable, not to rip it out, and also take it out. Oh, come on. So, got the radio out of the car, not without problems. One of the major problems is getting those plugs unstuck, but fortunately the cables are long enough so we're able to pull the panel back, and as you've seen, do everything without unplugging any cables. But I have a weird feeling, not a weird feeling, I'm sure this radio has been serviced before. Funny thing is, I bought it from my in-laws and they have never serviced the radio. Neither have I. It's been in the official authorized services a couple times. And if you look here, let me just get this in focus. See that? Void sticker. And then some third-party repair shop Radio Navi in Warsaw. So obviously somebody's been already servicing this. Well, let's just hope that it's the problem that 90% of these radios have, that the the memory card fails after some time. Apparently the SD cards cannot withstand so many reads and writes for such a long time, and after some time you need to get them replaced. And for the radio we need a Torx T10. So you're not seeing the radio, but there's basically nothing interesting here. I'm just unscrewing the 4 screws which are on top. And to make things easy, they put the SD card all the way there on the bottom. So you need to unscrew the bottom screws also and get the whole inside PCB and everything out. And for that we need to unscrew these 5 screws which are on the back of the case. Eight gigabyte SanDisk. So I'm tempted to pop it into the PC, see what's on the card. They said not to do it, but maybe we'll try copying it over to a 16 gigabyte card. Maybe, no, I don't have a computer with Linux right now, because Linux should allow you to write with a different partition. Well, nevertheless, let's see what's on this card. Then we'll pop in the new one, reassemble everything, and then hopefully we won't have to go with a procedure with a Mira script and loading the new software to the USB port. If not, we'll do it, but it'll just take a bit longer. So now for the reassembly. So in general, I won't bore you with the whole procedure. Obviously, you just reassemble everything in the reverse order of this assembly. So unfortunately, screen's black, but CD eject switch is on and off. I'm afraid that this was unsuccessful. You've heard that. The worst thing is that it's doing this the whole time, even though the car's off. So I'm afraid it's gonna drain the battery. Take a look at this. So the upgrade's working. I installed the USB pen drive here with a RT6 Mira Drive upgrade software, and there was nothing happening for 5 minutes. I switched the car off, but in the meantime I switched it on again. It was cold in the car, and I decided to edit the movie, and it looks that after 20, maybe 25 minutes, it started the upgrade. So hopefully it'll work. Okay. Do not remove media, partitioning the SD card. So it looks that the things I loaded onto the SD cards will be deleted anyway since it's doing the new partitioning. Okay, so it's taking so long. Maybe I'll pause the video and start recording again when actually something more interesting will start happening again. Like, for example, a refrigerator strolling along the sidewalk. And we've got 100%. So hopefully a success. Just a reboot now. So almost successful. As you see, I've got a Peugeot instead of a Citroen now. I guess I'll just need to download the correct files. The upgrade is fully doable. Everything seems to work correctly. Reverse is working. Also, we'll need to download the maps, because right now I'm in a blank open space. There's no map data, but that's also doable. So I would say repair in 80% successful. Just some finishing up to do. So that's it for today. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and see you again soon.